Ukraine, which started to use cluster bombs, gradually started to get successful results. Today, as War Report team, we are honored to share with you all the updates on the front line that the Ukrainians cut off their supplies and continued to attack and bomb with unmanned aerial vehicles incessantly. It was much easier for the Ukrainians to hold their positions here because the coal mine is located 600 meters south of the settlement, and it is a place they can reach by moving along the wooded line. Russian forces, by contrast, have to expose themselves to drones and artillery weapons for two reasons. The safest route is about 3 kilometers and there are not enough rows of trees, so they have to travel more than 2 km through the field. Judging by the recently released combat images, the Russians are losing half of their troops during rotation or reinforcement. The Ukrainian forces saw this as an excellent opportunity to use cluster bombs and to start published 24-hour supervision in this small declivity between 2 rows of trees. When the Russians cross it, the Ukrainians immediately fire at the Russian troops. If the Ukrainians did not manage to eliminate the entire team with regular cannons and the Russian forces dispersed, the Ukrainians immediately followed up with cluster shell in total based on the recently released additional combat images by attacking the coal mine, which was guarded by several squads. October 30th, 40 soldiers. The Russian forces lost more than 15 tanks and armored fighting vehicles and lost about 180 men. As the Russians continue to hold this position, the number of soldiers killed and wounded is increasing dramatically every day. It seems that the Ukrainians are in no hurry to launch a counterattack. They are depleting Russian reserves and are waiting for the detachments responsible for this operation to lose their combat capabilities. Meanwhile, more information has been obtained about the successful missile attack on the Russian military base in Crimea. Russia is pleased as Ukraine continues to make the same error. It is the 512th day of Russia's intervention in Ukraine. Let's go deeper, shall we? Starting with the Bakhmut sector, the situation continues tight as Ukrainians heavily storm the areas surrounding Bakhmut. The most violent battle is taking place to the south of Bakhmut around Kharkivka. Ukrainian forces are relentlessly attacking the last remaining heights surrounding the settlement. Trenches shift hands numerous times every day due to the amount of back and forth. Ukrainian soldiers began attacking this last trench system yesterday after pounding Russian trenches with heavy artillery. Because of the overwhelming siege, Russian soldiers opted to retreat towards the settlement, but only after reorganizing. Russian paratroopers counterattacked, aided by drones and artillery. As a result, they reclaimed control of the trench system. Fights are said to be going place right now. After being forced back, Ukrainians attempted to attack from the south of the settlement but were quickly beaten back after taking a couple of trenches. According to Russian reports, Ukraine has suffered significant casualties in terms of both equipment and troops. The Russian artillery team recently revealed drone footage of recent Ukrainian attacks that clearly shows the high cost of obtaining a few inches of territory. According to sources, Ukraine is deploying more reinforcements in this area, thus the intensity will not lessen. Russian forces, in my opinion, are not mounting big counterattacks because Ukraine has focused significant resources in this area. The cost of counterattacking will be significant, and there is a serious possibility of getting caught in a fire pocket. As a result, they only launched limited counterattacks. According to the most recent reports, Ukrainian soldiers are storming the northwestern portions of Bakhmut, but not as strongly as in Klishivka. However, they were pursued by Russian artillery and a DGM crew, so the initial attacks were halted. These attacks are carried out by foreign mercenaries. Fights are now taking place Between infantry, Russian tanks are being used to repel them yesterday night. Russian soldiers conducted another round of long-range attacks according to sources. Several targets including administrative and military targets were attacked. Ukraine on the other side began a drone attack on Crimea according to sources. Several military facilities were targeted. The Russian Ministry of Defense has issued a statement stating that beginning of July 20 all vessels heading in the Black Sea to Ukrainian ports will be viewed as potential military targets. Subscribed to receive more frontline news.